Hello, ladies and gentlemen tuning in, and happy Wednesday. We are Wednesday night with two ladies. I'm Pauline Teo, and this is
Rocking Rachel.
okay. And let's say today, I think it's a really good day for most of us. We've all been busy, back to work, and all of us are definitely getting on with, somewhat post-COVID lives. Okay,
Yeah, but
but I would say
today was a rainy day, so Paul and I were
it,
just telling each other that it was a very nice day to work for. I don't know where are
it
y'all
definitely
tuning in
was.
from, but if y'all are
Be it
from
office at
KL,
home, right? Yeah. So
yeah, if y'all are from the KL Klang Valley, lah, I would say, then maybe you guys also experience a very nice weather today to work in.
yep, yep,
So
definitely. So
yeah,
okay, without further ado, let me just very quickly introduce you guys to what Wednesday night we're with two ladies is all about. We are basically two ladies who will share on really four key areas, which is self love, health, on relationships, as well as parenting. And today we are definitely going to be talking about parenting skills. And we are very lucky, okay, to have a very special guest to that is actually waiting backstage. By the way, he's very eager to be on stage. But before
yes.
we bring him on, we like to say hello to all those people tuning in today. If you guys could just give a shout out who you guys are, then we know who's tuning in. That would be great. And as most of you guys do know it, today is our last episode. Okay, for the
Yeah,
season, we're not gone forever. We're just done for 2021, and we are definitely going to come back next year. But till then, I hope you guys have gotten a lot of value from this entire 10 episodes that we've been running so far. Is that right, Rachel? Today is our 10th episode, right?
yeah, very fast. 10 episodes have already been gone. So I mean, like
Yeah,
dusted. So
yeah, it's
yeah, so today
amazing.
is the tenth episode, and it's actually been a really actually it's been a really how I say a roller coaster ride. These 10 episodes
Mhm.
because somehow or other every episode does touch. I don't know about you, the rest of you, but it does touch me and Pauline in some way or another. We actually learn things and we learn how to apply in our own lives. And it's
Yep.
actually really been helping others as well, our clients, our friends, family. Yeah, so we are very thankful to have these 10 episodes going for us this entire season since July. So yeah, so without further ado, Pauline, let's introduce our guest speaker. All right, so
Yes. It's none
today
other than Teacher Kean, right? We're so excited to have him on board.
yes,
So,
yes,
would you like to do the honors to introduce our special guest?
can. But before I introduce the guest speaker, I want to actually explain the topic of today. If you realize the question is quite interesting. If money was not a problem, what dreams would you pursue? So would it be the current dream that you are actually living out, or is there something else? So we've actually been talking about this topic of dreams for the past 3 episodes. You can watch from episode 7, so episode 8, 9, and then this is the season, or rather the three. I would say the third episode on this to wrap it up, to wrap the whole thing up. And we're very fortunate to actually have Teacher Kean with us today to come and share his insights to this topic and to actually understand parents better and how can parents actually leverage on their learnings today to help their kids. So let me just introduce Teacher Kean. He's actually a corporate trainer who specializes in helping companies and individuals build rapport and strong connections. This includes helping people become better leaders, parents, and salespeople. So he's an excellent trainer, and He's actually a trained barista from the Middle Temple, UK, and he went into investment banking actually and private equity for more than 10 years before dedicating his life to education. So he's actually has Teacher Kean has a very diverse uh, background in terms of his working experience. So we'll definitely like to see what he can share with us today when it comes to this topic. All
Yep,
right, so let's
definitely.
bring Teacher Kean on board.
Let's have him on board. Teacher
Hey,
Kean.
hey, good morning, you.
Hello.
Hey, good morning, Pula. Hey, okay, now let's go with the
Evening.
standard greeting. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Okay, I'm so pleased to be here tonight, you two. And yes, hello to everyone in the comments. Make some noise in the chat. I'm so pleased to go and see all of you here
Yeah.
tonight. Hey, Pauline. Hey, Rachel. How are you guys feeling?
We are good. We are very, very
Yes.
excited to have you today, actually. It's like what Rachel said, this is the grand finale of our trilogy, okay? So,
Yeah.
it's like your Star Wars edition now, okay? So we're really excited, really, really.
Yeah. So to wrap the whole thing up, we are very fortunate to have you on board with us. So thank you
Then I
Definitely.
so much.
Then I
Yeah.
definitely hope I can do this episode justice because this is the end of a three dream streak, is it? You guys were talking about doing this for the
Yeah,
Yes.
past three
same.
episodes.
Correct. So I think now it's actually very cool, to have you wrap it up in terms of from a teacher or from a parent yourself, right? Your perspective on this particular topic. So I think without further delays, right? Are you ready for question number one?
Wow, okay, wow.
The
Sounds
game
a bit
show, you know.
scary, but I think
I
I'll be
don't
up to
think
the
so.
task.
Yeah, I'm sure you're. This is like an easy peasy kind of question for you. And by
Sure
the way,
not.
for those tuning in, right, if you have a question for Teacher Kean on this particular topic, please type in the chat so that we can address it today, okay? Because if you don't ask those questions, you won't be able to get those answers of Teacher Kean. So please
Yes.
fire away. That's why he's on the hot seat. So, Teacher Kean, for your first question today, right?
Hmm.
When you wanted to pursue your line of career, right, was money a hindrance or a tool for you?
When I wanted to go and pursue my current one or my first one.
Got
Both.
current one and first one. Now this one you must tell us more about it.
Wow, okay, now there's a story over here for my current one,
Yeah.
right? Okay, wow, I haven't told this story before. Wow, I'm so pleased to be
Ooh,
sharing this story here tonight. All right, come.
awesome.
Okay, guys, here's the story. All right. So now, previously, I was a barrister, right? I was a lawyer. Then I went into investment banking. So now, in investment banking, I'm not sure whether I told you or not, but yeah, we get paid in the bonuses by the years one. I remember getting more than 1 year bonus, right, when I was in investment banking. And this, I I was sitting on cash. I was sitting on cash, frankly. And because of that, I started a few businesses. One of them
Mm,
was actually one of them was an education center, a tuition center, right? Someone wanted one of the teachers, which I knew, a friend, wanted to go and start a tuition center, and I was very happy to go and fund him. So then that's how I became the headmaster of that center. But there was another business, and over here there's a lesson to be learned over here, and it's not something I talk about a lot, but yeah, let's talk about it. All right, so now I invested into a dairy cow business, right, where we used to go
cool.
and buy cows from Thailand, and then sell them to farmers in Malaysia. So now it was a really good business, guys. It was a really good business. Why? Because we were helping poor people in Malaysia get rich, right? Poor farmers in Malaysia, they have passive income, and they very, very soon, within months, they will be able to go and pay us back how much they bought the cow for already. They will be able to go and get back their ROI. And it was good margins as well. So it was a
Right.
good job helping people, good margins, right? But here's the thing, yeah. We became greedy. We kept on reinvesting all our capital into it instead of taking it out wisely. We kept on reinvesting everything into it. And there was one time we got a bit greedy. We didn't follow our own SOPs. Our selector was asked to go and stay back to go and select cows for local cows, right? And we left our selection in Thailand to the Thai partners, and they didn't follow our SOPs. They let in, I think, 20 Brucella diseased cows into the quarantine center,
Oh.
and as a result, the entire herd of our cows, 230 plus, all got infected. So now this is a
Ouch.
huge problem because the Thai
Yeah.
government was furious with us. All right, asked us to sembelih all the cows, asked us just to go and cull all the cows, and at the same time, we now owe a whole bunch of people money because all the
Mm,
farmers in Malaysia had already paid us 30% deposit. This
right.
totally financially wrecked me. And at the same time, I was going through a separation with my ex-wife, and this was a very, very, very humbling time for me. So I was
Mm,
high flying, I was an investment banker, I had this huge agro business, right? And suddenly I am left with debt, and I am quite a bit very in a very tough spot. So
right.
I went into education because I needed to pay the bills. I started teaching right? Because I had to pay the bills. But it turned out to be a really, really good decision in my life, because through teaching, I realized that, hey, I love teaching so much. I have a passion and I have a little bit of talent for it. And very soon I moved from teaching children towards teaching teachers. And from there, I just moved on to teaching parents and teaching corporates. Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
So my
Wow.
current career choice was born out of financial difficulty. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm speaking to you. Okay, don't be put into the same boat as I did. Speak to these two beautiful ladies over here. You're going to financially plan your business. All right, don't follow your own SOPs. Okay, don't get into the same bind as I have. Yeah,
Yeah,
But I
but
think
then it's
that's a
such a
lovely story, Teacher Keen. That's a
it's
very,
lovely
very
now. It wasn't lovely to me a few years ago.
That's right. So I think, this is things that really does happen in our life, isn't it? Like, you stumble upon things, you learn it along the way. And then if we're lucky enough, we discover, hey, this is something I really enjoy doing and be good at it. So this is where, you kind of like develop that passion, right? But there's some of us who thought this was a passion and then didn't quite end up as the dream passion we wanted to land. So I think this is where a lot of parents have that question for you, if I'm not mistaken, for tonight. Like, how do
Mm-mm.
we help children to identify exactly what their potentials are?
Mm,
Because even when it comes to food, they can't even decide whether they want nuggets, more chicken, or veggies, right? So how to make them take accountability and responsibility in deciding that's what I really want to do, as a career path. So I think, yeah, over to you, Teacher Keen.
wow, let me tell you, Pauline, I really love the analogy about the chicken nuggets over there. It really resonated with my KFC loving soul. Okay, all right, come. Let me first of all drop a little bombshell, okay? Let me drop a little bombshell to everyone who's listening in tonight and in the future if you're watching this as a recording. There's
Okay.
no such thing as wasted knowledge. Take it
Mm,
from me, there is no such thing as wasted knowledge. For
yeah.
example, today I'm a parenting trainer, I am a corporate trainer. Never in my life did I ever expect me to go and use my law degree again. But now all my corporate training advertising is that I'm a barrister from the Middle Temple. I can train your company to do sales, I can train your company to do presentations, I can teach your
Yeah.
management to go and present like a pro because of my Middle Temple training. I have advocacy skills, I have negotiation skills. So let me tell you this, it is just how you define yourself. No knowledge is
Mm,
ever wasted. It's just how you
yeah.
brand yourself. So now that's the
Wow.
first thing. And I believe that if we can really free ourselves from that fear a bit, right, then we will go a long way towards helping our children find a bit of happiness regardless of where they are in life. Now, of course, building on that, all right, we really, really need to go and give our children self-worth. All right. We need to go and build up the
Mm,
self-worth. So no matter where you are in life, you are confident that your skills, your network, knowing lovely people like the both of you, right? Your network will pull you through, your skills will pull you through, regardless of whatever you choose to do in life. It's not that, oh, I chose this career path, so I'm gonna be rich. No, that's not necessarily true. Right? Go and tell
yeah.
yourself that no matter what I choose to do, I just need to be in the top 10% and I'm going to have a comfortable and meaningful life.
Wow.
Right?
That's true. That's true.
I've
I
never
think
heard
there's a
Just
lot
another.
of
try.
things that people don't realize, right? I mean, money can't really buy happiness to a certain
Can't.
Yeah.
degree, yeah. But in terms of true happiness, it actually comes from you yourself. You make that happiness come true, right? It's not because
Yeah.
you're worth R1 million, then only you're happy. So
Yep.
I think that's a very good point that you've just shared there. So
Mm.
hopefully for parents out there, that kind of like resonated with you guys as well, on
Hopefully it
how
eases
you.
your burdens as well to like think what am I going to do with my child education. Well, I think that's quite a common problem among all parents, right? Like
Yeah.
Yep.
helping the child choose the right education path. Even like Form
Yep.
Yeah.
4, science stream, art stream also, parents will be scrambling which one to send them in. So
Yep.
Yeah, like
yeah,
how to decide, right? Art stream, science stream, or do you do like, somewhere in between or something like that, right? Like with the hybrids.
yeah,
So it's not an easy decision at any one point in time to be making. So I
Yep.
think
but I think
what
what
Melanie shared here is quite relevant. Every storm runs out of rain. Your lesson has brought it a beautiful blessing right now. So I think in life, it's actually all about mindset as well. If we see it as something wasted, things that happen to us, something bad, then you will always see the bad side of it. But if we see them as something positive, as opportunities or lessons that we've learned and move on, then it becomes a blessing that you never knew, could actually ever happen to you. So I think that's
I want
also
to
another
share.
important point. Please.
I want to share something with you guys. Yeah. Okay. So now, so here's the thing. When you go and flash up Melanie's name on the screen, right? It reminded me of a story. Okay. Now, because I chose not to become a lawyer, I chose to become an investment banker. Right. And for a very long time, even though I was making a comfortable income, I was going places. Then I chose to become a teacher. Then, my business failed. For a very long time, I felt a lot of guilt that my parents, especially my dad, all right, he sacrificed so much to go and send me to the UK to study at the Middle Temple, and at the end, I didn't become a lawyer, And for a
Right.
long time, there was a lot of guilt, and I felt very bad about it. I wondered if he would ever get his ROI back, But guess what? Nowadays, right? Because I'm very lucky to have connections like both of you and everyone in the chat, right? I am doing quite well as a corporate trainer, and guess what? My dad is coming with me as my training assistant when we are going to Johor Bahru next.
Wow.
Yes, absolutely. He's so proud of me, and I'm so proud of him. And it's like we are bonding, and yeah, it's such a pleasure to have him with me. So really, I do not. Now that I think back on it, I don't think that he was ever angry or resentful at this wasted
Right.
law degree. It was really a figment of my imagination. It's just what you choose to do with it today.
Yep.
But
Yep.
having said that, coming back to the question, are there things
Mm.
we can do to help our children find a bit of direction? I
Yeah.
think there is. I think there is a lot we can do to go and help our children find their direction. Now, what do you guys think? I would love to go and hear this. Did your parents ever help you find your direction when you were younger, or did they leave it to you to go and discover?
I would say
For
it's a bit
me,
of both, right? For most of us, it
yeah,
would be a bit of both, right?
yeah,
Rachel,
yeah,
go
it
ahead.
is. For me, it was a bit different because I already knew what I wanted to study, so I made it quite clear. And but they did advise me, they helped me. What they did was let's say I wanted to be in the financial line. So what they did was they actually brought me to some of my relatives that were already doing things I wanted, and they asked me to have a chat with them and see what is the line like. And just to get to know more about the career. Yeah, so that's what they did for me, and which I think is very helpful lah, from my personal experience.
Yep, definitely speaking with people who are in the industry who have already made it, right? They're gonna give you a very pure and honest opinion, right?
Yeah.
If it's a bad profession, they're definitely gonna tell you stay away from here. If it's a good one, they're gonna tell you yes, come and join. And either way, it's gonna be a good for you, yeah. Whatever they're gonna tell you. Absolutely,
Yep.
I love that, Rachel. Yep.
Thank
So
you.
how about you, Pauline? Your parents, what did
I
they what
would
did they
say
do?
it's a hybrid lah. My mom was very supportive of whatever it is I wanted to do and explore, but my dad was very fixed in some ways lah. If let's say he thinks that this is the right thing for you, he would be very, very, very forceful to make sure that you follow that. So I think to be honest, I think for me, I kind of like failed my father as well. He wanted me to become an accountant, which I'm not. So it was actually very challenging for me just the first year itself, having to, sit down one place, listen to boring accounting concepts. For me it was boring lah. I know that some people really love it, okay? But it's just not me. So it was really painful during my first year in university, trying to figure, that how to make it through the next 2 more years, right? And the first year I just couldn't tahan. Okay, I couldn't bear the thought of, having to be an accountant and everything. So I actually changed, in midst of my course, I actually changed to a business or rather a commerce degree instead of focusing on accountancy. So my mom was very supportive of it, and I think she realized that it's not my forte. If you look at my personality and everything, no, I cannot sit at one place, for long, long run. It's just not me, not my
Yeah.
character. So I think in that sense, I would say just like you, I thought I actually really disappointed my dad and everything. But at the end of the day, I would say he's quite proud of me because, whatever it is I'm doing right now, I'm actually very self-sufficient in that sense. I don't depend on my parents, or I don't burden them with, like whatever financial difficulties or whatever it is. We kind of like figure it ourselves. We make things work. So I think along the way, I think my dad kind of like forgiven me lah, even though he was very upset initially.
Yep. So
So
now, yep, yeah, go ahead, Polly. Yeah,
yeah, so I think that's life lah, right? As what you said, whatever it is I learned didn't actually go to waste, because
does it
certain
go to waste?
element of it, I actually picked up along the way, and it's something that I actually enjoy, discovering, because I think some kids just need to discover. Like I know, like Rachel is very, very firm. She already knows what she wants, but not every kid is born that way. Like my brother knew exactly what he wanted to do. I was like the lost kid that was like from five finish. You do what? I don't know. Kind of thing. So I think we always have situations where one kid would be like, "Ha, I know what I want," and other kids would be like, "Blur blur, don't know what you want." Let's wait for intervention to come, kind of thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so here's the thing though, and guys, okay, this is a huge takeaway which I want everyone to, if you have a pen, write it down, right? This is really, really important, okay? Yep. So now, there was once very recently, okay, there was once very recently. I have a really good relationship with my parents now, right? After all of that, after all those interesting journeys I went through, now I have a great relationship with my parents. And there was one time I disagreed with my mother about something, right?
Mm.
Recently, and her face fell, face was black, she was not happy, right? And I said that, hey, do you want me to go and change my mind? You seem a bit unhappy, right? Would you like me to go and do things differently? And she turned to me and she said something which, even as a parenting trainer, I never thought about before. And I really like to go and share with you guys this thing, yeah, okay? She told me, Kian, do what is right. You underestimate the ability of your parents' resilience. You underestimate your parents' resilience. Just because I'm showing you a black face now doesn't mean that I'll be like this forever. I just need time. Everyone has a black face when they receive bad news, when their children are
Yeah.
doing things which they don't like. But it doesn't mean that I'll be like this forever.
Yeah.
So you do what is correct, not do something to go and please your parents. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, I've been doing things
Wow.
for the longest time just to go and get the approval of my teachers or my parents, and they don't even care actually in a few days' time. But I made huge decisions, in my life
Yeah.
just to go and
You're right.
avoid that conflict.
Wow.
Yep.
How you say it?
She just told me, don't underestimate your parents' capability to be resilient to bad news. Just
Mm.
because I have a bad black face now, or just because I'm showing you an unhappy face now, doesn't mean that I'll feel this way forever.
Yeah.
And when we think back on it, it's the same when our girlfriend or when our spouses tell us bad news. Yes, everyone has emotions and will feel sad at that moment or disappointed at that moment. But in a few days, whatever, But
Yeah.
but if we continue, if we don't communicate this to the other person, they may have made a life changing decision.
That's right.
And I think
Yeah.
that communication is absolutely key then, right?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Which
Actually,
actually
I
comes to
really.
this very interesting point that you've made about communication. A lot of us, we think we're communicating, right? But sometimes we're not really practicing effective communication, would you say? So
Yep.
I think this will also be the same thing when we are trying to communicate to our kids. And one of the things I've actually noticed is that parents and kids have different mindset, as well as the age gap. So as kids, when we were kids before, right? How we think, the maturity as per what kids are today, right? Is wow, it's like huge difference. So how do we actually manage communication? Especially having effective communication with our kids on such topics.
Okay, now Pauline, let's go and put a pin on that, okay? Because we still haven't answered the first question. What can we do as parents to go and help our kids find a bit of direction, okay? So now let's quickly go and wrap that one up before we go into this second really, really
Yeah,
important question about
yeah,
communication, yeah? Now, for the first one, how do we help our kids find a bit of direction so that they have a bit of accountability? They don't just go ahead and study whatever they want, then wow, right? Hundreds of thousands invested later, and then they go and say that, hey, this is not for me. Hey, why am I suddenly in the middle of the screen? Come, let's come back here. Okay, all right. All right. So now here's my take on it. Now, the key to understanding what you like and what you don't like is something called hobbies. Hobbies. All right. Now, when we were kids, we did a lot of hobbies. And hobbies are great because even if we give up on hobbies, right, at least we know that, okay, this is not for me. Now, the problem with many children and many families nowadays is that they don't really have a hobby. And over here, this is a story I often tell in class, right? I often say, I remember I was teaching a bunch of year 9 students English, and I asked them to go and write this essay. Hey, write about your hobbies, my hobbies. So I was so surprised because all of those students, right, they wrote the first paragraph, they wrote the second paragraph, then they struggled already. They were unable to really get past the second paragraph. And I remember there was this girl who came up to me quietly and asked me, Teacher Kean, is Mobile Legends considered to be a hobby? And I said, no, you can't write about something else. Okay, write about something else, right? Don't talk about League of Legends or Roblox or Minecraft. Write about something else. They say, I don't do anything else. I don't do anything else. Right. Then she said, well, what do you do when you go home? Mobile Legends. Besides Mobile Legends, what do you do? YouTube. Then I say, okay, what do you watch on YouTube? What do you watch on YouTube? And she said, oh, I watch 5-minute crafts. You guys know 5-minute crafts, the channel? Right, it's basically an art channel where they go and make rapid projects in 5 minutes and to go and encourage children to go and do the crafts, right? The arts and crafts. And I said, wonderful, fantastic. Do you actually do the crafts? Is that your hobby? And she says, no, I watch it for entertainment. Then I started to realize, oh my goodness, it's true, so many influencers on TikTok teach you how to do makeup. So many of them teach you how to go and do all these crafts and arts. But we don't actually do it, we just watch it sebagai entertainment sahaja. So that's a huge problem. That's a huge problem, right? So a lot of our kids don't have hobbies. And if you don't have hobbies, how would you know what you like? And how do you know what you don't like? More importantly, perhaps, is how do you know what you don't like? I think knowing what you don't like is more important than knowing what you like.
Because you really
correct. You really need to go and know what you don't like. So every breakup, every business failure, every time someone scolds you, all right, you know what you don't like. It's not an absolute loss. Next time, you're probably going to be stronger. Yep.
Or you know where to fine tune. So
correct.
That's important too. Yeah.
Yep,
so then in this case, then how for this kid? She watches YouTube as entertainment and she plays Urban Legend. Then how? I mean, I'm sure there's parents out there with this kind of situation. So you really need to help them. What do you do then? How do we help this bunch?
First things first, okay? First things first. You have to understand why is the kid relying on the phone so much for entertainment. Why? It is because most likely, all right, and over here I'm painting a very broad stroke, okay? Obviously not all parents are like this, but most of the time both parents are working, or both parents don't have time to go and spend on their children. So they throw the device to the kids as a babysitter because they are feeling guilty as parents. Now, because we nowadays as adults, all right, if we don't have anything to do, we feel angsty, we feel anxious. That's why we're always looking for the phone, right? And we don't want our children to go and feel angsty, bored, or anxious. That's why we also give them the phone. If you think about it, it's true, okay? Now, Melanie, I'm not sure whether or not you have thoughts on this. But yeah, if you think about it, right, we feel angsty, anxious, stressed when we don't have our phones. And we feel guilty when we don't have attention to go and when we don't have time to go and give our kids attention. So that's why we also give them the phone. Also, because some kids are very demanding, some kids are very aggressive, unyielding, they will make a big fuss if you don't give them the phone. So, here's the thing though, okay? Did our parents care? Did our parents give 2 cents worth of care when we told them, Mama, I'm very bored? No, they didn't care. They didn't say, go and pick up a stick and pretend it's a lightsaber or something. Go and do your own thing. Right? Did they go say, oh, okay, here's your phone for you. Okay, go. I hope you have fun watching 5-minute crafts. No, they didn't care. They said, you're bored. Go and find something to go and make yourself less bored. And I think that is a skill.
But Teacher Kean, this is a problem today. You know what? During my time, there's no such thing as handphone. We only had those, those punch phones or the dial phones. You remember those days? You know what I mean? So I would see it as a problem today, as in monkey see, monkey do, right?
That's right.
Like if the kids see you with a handphone, they also want a handphone, but they don't understand the logic. Why are you on the handphone? So
Yeah.
with this said, how do we actually help parents to realize that kids need more than just a phone for entertainment?
I like how
Oh, I
Melanie
think,
puts it in the comment.
yeah, the
She
phone is
has
the
a good comment.
modern lollipop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I like this. That's a good one, Mel.
Well, actually, now we are talking about the heart of the problem here. It's true, yeah, okay, and
Yeah.
we are really, really talking about the root of the problem here. The reason
Mm,
why so many children or so many young adults change direction is because they don't really know what they want, and they don't really know what they want because they have been shoehorned into online echo chambers. Now, what
right.
what I call this algorithmic polarization. So now, what does polarization mean? Polarization means becoming more and more extreme towards a set of beliefs, right? And
Yeah.
it is, and nowadays, right, when we go on Google, right, let's say I search for Steve Jobs. Okay, let's make this a bit controversial. I bet that if I typed "was Steve Jobs a good or bad person" in my Google search bar, the results would be drastically different from someone who loves Apple products.
Ah,
I am not an Apple fan, and if I were to go and type, was Steve Jobs a good or bad person? The results I would get would be drastically different from an Apple fan's
Apple
results.
fan. Okay.
Probably theirs would be a bit more pro Steve Jobs, and mine would be a bit more anti Steve Jobs. All right.
Mm,
It's the same
Mm.
for YouTube, yeah, okay? When I go on YouTube, and I remember there's one time, just one time only, all right, I watched a video on Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is a Republican commentator from the United States. For the
yeah.
rest of the week, wow, I just kept getting spammed by Republican news. There was not a single Democrat news. There was no more There was no more politics from Malaysia. So now, why
Right.
does
Wow.
YouTube and Google do this to us? YouTube and Google does this to us because, right, they want to keep us on their apps as long as possible. And if they're
Right.
showing us things we don't like, then we're gonna log out from
We'll
the app.
stop. Yeah.
Will stop, right? So
Correct.
this is why it's the same for LinkedIn. Yeah, okay. You will notice that if you go and like certain people, then they'll keep showing you those people. If you like certain
Mm,
ideas, they'll keep showing you those products. If you just go and look for something on Google once, then your Facebook feed is going to be full of that product forevermore.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
right.
So they keep showing you things which you like or you're likely to buy. Now, for us adults, okay, most of us have critical thinking skills. I hope that all of us have critical thinking skills. We know how to go and weigh and judge data and evidence, but kids don't. This is why
Mm,
kids become very, very stubborn, or I wouldn't want to use the word stubborn, they become very entrenched in certain beliefs. It is because every time they go online, those same beliefs are kept on being fed to them
mm,
by the
Mm.
algorithm.
right.
And so
Wow.
they only see things from one point of view. So now they think they like that. But when they come out to university, to higher education, to internships, and to workplaces, their beliefs get challenged.
Yeah.
And this is not always very easy for them. So sometimes they quit, right? Sometimes they manage to go and have a more balanced point of view. But most of the time, they feel very miserable because their beliefs are being challenged,
Yeah.
Mm.
right? So yeah, this is the
Okay.
root of the problem. Yeah, it comes back to their access to the phone. Yes, Rachel,
Mm.
I think that you have a statement or a
I
question.
wanted to say something. Yeah. No, I'm just a bit overwhelmed. Like, wow. Okay. Like, next time I go to Google, I better be more conscious about what I'm seeing. What am I
Yep.
actually getting there? So yeah, but it's quite true lah. Like kids being so affected by this, but today's world, right, Shani, in your opinion, because technology is definitely going to be more and more a part of our lives.
Yep.
Hobbies today would definitely be way different from our time where we have arts and crafts. Nowadays, there's even online arts and crafts already. You don't have to have a physical thing. So, like, maybe would you say like giving kids different types of hobbies in terms of like gaming, different games teach kids different things, or even like this could train them in different skills to see which one they are more suited. Like maybe like Lego, last time Lego used to be a thing where you find out whether the kid is good with hands. So you kind of like send them to
And
vocational
creativity,
kind
right?
of, yeah, so that you know this kid is more into creativity, vocational kind of jobs. So the parents would actually be looking to something like that. But today's world, like, what do you think parents do? How should they adapt with the changes?
All right. Wow, Rachel, I think that's a great question actually. And yeah, there's a lot of discussion points here. There's a lot of talking points here. So now
Yeah.
let's talk about this here. All right. Yes, I do believe that games do train certain skills. As a avid gamer myself, when I was younger, I do pick up a lot of skills from that. Now, however, if you look at the current makeup of games which children like to consume, or the current content which children are consuming on YouTube, for example, or Netflix, all right, I don't see too many benefits as compared to them learning Taekwondo, for example. All
Mm.
right. So now, if a kid learns taekwondo or karate, all right, even if they give up, they know that, hey, I tried it. This was not for me. And over there, you learn more skills. You learn how to negotiate with people. You know how to go and play in a team. You learn how to go and listen to instructions. You learn discipline. But unless if the mobile app you are playing has built-in type of controls like that or lessons like that, and in a structured manner, then I think that it is a bit far off from. I think it's a bit far off from traditional hobbies. Lah. All right, now what can we do?
Yeah.
What can we do? I think that it is very important to tell our children that, hey, you like to go and play games, and games will be a part of your life. I'm not going to stop you from playing too much. Sorry, I'm not going to stop you as long as you are reasonable. But you have to understand that there are a lot of things in life which can give you more happiness than gaming. Now
Mm.
this comes back to really Melanie's field. Okay, when we play games, right, we get a lot of dopamine and serotonin. There's a lot of flashes, there's a lot of lights to congratulate you when you make a minor achievement, and this gives them a lot of positive reinforcement, which they desperately crave. Right? No one praise them. Right? When the game praises them, they're like, "Oh, I love the game." Right? So now it makes them happy. It makes them short-term happy. So then they keep going back to it for more and more. But I think at some point we have to go and tell them that yes, all right, games you can play as long as you're reasonable, but you need to do other activities as well. You need to go and play with your friends in the playground. You need to go and play football, for example, or you need to go and play Lego, right? Or you need to go and start drawing, right? Read as well. Yeah, there are other things to go and make you just as happy, if not more happy, right? So
Mm.
I think
Yeah.
that you're absolutely right. This is one of the things we can do. And of course, as parents, if you're really, really serious about helping them develop hobbies, ambitions, direction, then you have to go and put down the phone yourself once in a while to go and show them some good habits as well. Yep, that's my take on it. Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Actually, the other question I have for you, Teacher Keen, is today's parenting lah. We believe that you cannot always put on the parent hat. You
Mm,
have to also be their friend. So
mm.
I just want to know, as a parent yourself, right, how do you balance between being a parent and putting on a buddy hat? When do you
All
actually put these two levers? When do you actually, kind of like be a parent but also be a friend?
all right. So now, Pauline, I love that question. And I think that this was an audience question, right? This was
Yep.
from an audience member. All right. So
Yep.
now, here's the thing. All right. It's like asking, right? Okay, as a CEO of a company, how do you know when to go and do the finance operations, or when do you need to become a HR to lead the HR? When do you need to go and lead strategy? When do you need to go and lead compliance and legal or risk, for example? The answer is you have to be good at all of them, and you need to go and choose the correct time. So now over here, you need to really, really understand what your child needs at that moment. Does your child need to be disciplined at the moment? Or does he need to be comforted at the moment? Or does he need to go and learn resilience at this moment? Or does or he's lost and he needs a bit of clarification, laying out the pros and the cons so that he can make his decision by himself. Now, this one was taught to me by KB, right? I'm sure that all of you know KB, right? KB Prasad, right? On LinkedIn. And he taught me, right? He said that, look, okay, we play many roles. As parents, we need to be friends, we need to be teachers, we need to be coaches. And what role do you go and play when? Well, I think he's quite correct that we should always start off as a coaching role. When our kids come to us with a problem, or when they've misbehaved, we always need to go and ask them, hey, what do you want to achieve here? What do you want to achieve here? Do you think what you're doing is correct or wrong? If it is wrong, how do you think you want to go and fix it? Right? How do you think
Mm.
you want to go and fix it? And they'll probably say, I don't think I'm wrong. Then you have to go into a teacher mode. And you have to go and say, look, okay, if you continue to do this, then blah, 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 all of these bad things will happen to you. Right? Your friends are going to leave you. No one is going to trust you if you're so fierce. All right? Or, only bad people will be left in your life. So go and lay out the options to them in a teacher role. Then go back to a coach role and go ask them, do you really want that? Okay. And if they say, hey, you know what, that doesn't sound so good anymore. Maybe I don't want that. What can I do to change? Then you have to go and swap to a parenting or teacher's role and go and tell them again. But a lot of the time, when they have encountered something traumatic or when something unfortunate has happened in their lives, all right, then we need to go and adopt a friend role. So now let's do a little bit of role play, okay, guys? All right, now, Pauline, let's say I come to you today and I'm like, oh my goodness, Pauline, I worked so hard and I didn't get the client. I said something so stupid in front of the client. I called her by the wrong name, and not only that, I mispronounced the company's name. I'm such an idiot, Pauline. I'm so bad. All right, Pauline, am I bad or not? Am I bad or not, Pauline?
No, you're not bad. You're
not bad, right? Okay, then what else? What else can we go and say?
So maybe it's like, you were nervous, right? When you were having that meeting, were you?
Oh, yes, I was.
That's why, never mind. Next time you need to build confidence, okay? So when you build confidence, right, you won't say the wrong thing, or you won't actually, you just rehearse before you don't meet the client. So you won't.
Will I do better next time or not, Pauline? Or does she hate me already? Will she go and tell everyone that I'm such a lousy trainer?
No, she won't. Don't worry
right?
about it. Yeah, she won't. You just have to go back maybe and talk to her tomorrow. Maybe apologize for the small mistake that you made. Should be okay.
You're such a good comforter. So why don't you talk to yourself like that?
You don't know. That's a problem,
Why you talk to your friends like that, but why you don't talk to yourself like that?
That's a good one. That's a very good one.
Hey, we are our own best friends, right? How come we actually take the time to empathize with our friends, but we don't give 2 cents worth of justice and goodwill to ourselves?
Yes.
What's going on here? And
we set the bar very high for ourselves.
We set the bar very high for ourselves.
Yeah.
Correct. And guess what? For our children, which a lot of us view as mini versions of ourselves, less experienced versions of ourselves, someone which we have power over, can you imagine how we talk to them or not?
Yeah, correct. That's a good point. That's an excellent point.
Yeah.
Right. So from that role play, we can go and see that yes, we talk to our friends very nicely, we counsel them, we act as friends, we empathize, right? We actively listen to them, we ask them questions. Were you nervous? We don't go and say, yeah lah, you teruk lah, you're gonna lose this client forever. No, we don't say that. Okay, but we say that to ourselves. And can you imagine if we say that to ourselves, what more we say to our children?
Correct.
Which we feel qualified to lecture.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like silent.
That's a very powerful statement there. Yeah.
So a bit of role play gets everyone rolling.
No, but I think you're right. Like nowadays, it's actually very important to also respect your kids. Like an individual. Respect them as an individual. Don't see them as you're the parent. You know better, and therefore you need to listen to me. Sometimes it's actually very important for us also to empathize. When they are at that age, what they are going through is exactly how we feel when we make a mistake at our age, right? So, yeah.
To us,
I like what you said about,
yeah.
I like what you said about knowing when to put on which hat, like looking at the scenario that the kid is coming into you, what hat is suitable at that time. I think that's really good. Yeah. Something to
absolutely. Yeah. A CEO doesn't say, no, I'm just going to do finance. No, he can't afford to do that, He has to go and take care of many, many roles, and he needs to know what hat to go and put on at the correct time. And most of all, he needs to be guided by what is right, what the company needs. So it's the same with our children. We have many hats, and we need to go and understand at this point of time, what does the child need? Of course, children don't always know what they need, so you need to be able to empathize with them. Now, there's a huge difference between empathy and sympathy. Okay, sympathy is basically projecting your own value judgment onto a person's misfortunes. Yeah, right. Okay, if someone has encountered a bad thing, you could say, "Oh, you very poor thing, like you. How can that B say that to you? What a B, Okay, I'm not gonna say the bad word on stream, but how could she say that to you? Wow, she deserves to die. She can go and burn in the fire. Now that's called sympathy. Now, empathy is very different from sympathy. Empathy is basically genuinely feeling what the other person is feeling, repeating some of the keywords they have said. Oh, she said that to you, is it? How did that make you feel, Oh, you wanted to go and share your toys with her, is it? Yes. Okay. And she didn't want to share her toys with you? Yes. How did that make you feel? Now that is called empathy. Sympathy would be, what? You went to her house, you gave her a toys and she didn't want to share with you. Next time don't go to her house anymore. Lah. Right. So now that is putting our own value judgment onto the situation. Now, if you think about it properly, right, no one wants to be sympathized. No one.
Yeah.
Right? Me and you, we don't want other people's sympathy. We just want to be understood.
Yes.
So now, through a
It's true.
roundabout way, we have answered your second question already. Communication.
Yes.
Communication
Yes,
is
yes.
largely about empathy, not about sympathy. Not about your needs, it's about the other person's needs sometimes.
What I understand from this is that communication is more of listening, understanding what's going on with the person that you are talking to, rather than looking at what is going on inside of you and assuming that you know best and projecting what you want on the person, right? Which actually leads me to my next question. I would like to actually go into the more financial area here, since we've talked about communication and we've also talked about how parents can help their child to find their dreams, right? So, what could parents do? Like, okay, the dreams part of the child, definitely we don't decide that as parents, right? Then at the end of the day, it has to come from the child's own initiative. So when we talk about education planning, right, if we don't know what our child wants, in your opinion, like why why would you how would you save up for education funding if you don't know what your child actually wants to become? Is there a certain do you have a certain guide as to, okay, I'm just going to keep this much and see whether it's enough, or what do you do, Teacher Kean?
Wow, you know what? This is totally out of my depth. This one I have to go and ask you, Rachel, and ask you, Pauline. Hey, you guys are the finance experts over here. Yeah,
No,
it's
but
like
I
you guys
think
are.
I think from a parent perspective, like I think a lot of parents, they always tell me, right, they're very concerned about planning, making sure that they save enough for their children's education, right? But how does a psyche from a parent point of view, how do you actually go about in deciding like how much to save and whether or not it's enough? I think this is an interesting question here. Like
Yep.
just as
what do you see from a parent's perspective?
Now, first off, for me, I'm really, really, really keenly aware that education is getting really out of hand in terms of fees. Right?
Yeah.
We definitely need to go and start saving yesterday, all right, and setting aside some plan, all right, to go and provide for our children. Now, having said that, okay, we need to be a bit more realistic. Now,
Mm.
is it true that getting a qualification from the Middle Temple is going to go and guarantee you financial success today? It definitely helps, but no, it's not a guarantee. There are
Yeah.
other things which are more important.
Correct.
Now, maybe for the same price, all right, we can go and get a better education in Malaysia, for example. Now,
Mm.
honestly speaking, right, that education, right, and I think Dr. Ali made a post on this recently. Dr. Ali said,
Yeah.
is it true that you have to go and send your kids to an expensive education? And if you think about it, the only reason you want that certificate from the expensive institution would be to get past your first interview.
Yeah.
Because after you have gotten past your first interview, you're probably not going to talk about your school so much. You're going to talk about your first job from
Experience.
then on,
Yeah.
yeah,
right?
That's true.
yeah. That's
So
very true.
obviously, if you want to get into the best first job, then you need the best university, of course, right? But if
Yeah.
you are willing to go for a job which is more suitable instead of going for the best job, then it's not really going to matter in a few years' time. Now,
Mm.
having said that, I still absolutely believe in an education fund because you are not going to lose. Let's say I set aside, let's say, 500,000 for my kids' education fund, and they only ended up using, let's say, 100,000 because they went to a local U, they're very happy, and they got good jobs. A few years later, doesn't matter. So what do I do with the 400,000? Did I lose out? No, I can go and give it to them if they want to start a business, for example.
Correct.
You will never lose if you start saving today. And if you save wisely, of course, with the tool lovely ladies over here, right? I'm really not an expert in this field, right? Go and speak to them, right? But yeah, so set aside some money and try to encourage them to go and study locally, right? And
Mm-mm.
the extra money they can go and build something lovely. They can build an empire with that money actually,
Yeah.
instead of really spending it on an education which they're not going to fully leverage. Now, I went to the UK to go and study, and when I was in the UK, I mixed mainly with other Malaysians. I never
Mm.
mixed with other people outside of my circle, like for example, the more elite Malaysians, for example, or let's say with the English people, or with people from other countries. And I think that is something which I would definitely change if I had the chance to go back again. I was in a foreign country, surrounded by very, very friendly foreign people who constantly asked me to go to the pub with them. Constantly asked me to go to parties, and I said, no, you know what? I'm going to play video games with my Malaysian friends. So that's something which I would
Mm.
definitely change if I could do it a second time around. The connections
Right.
are very important if you go to
Yeah.
an expensive institution. Mm.
True.
Yeah.
True.
That's true. But I actually like, I mean, I think this is something very valuable what you said just now, that you need to be practical or realistic as to some parents, right, when we think about education fund, obviously you want the best for the child. So it actually makes them very stressed because they know that the best is also very like far off to
Pricey.
even
Yeah,
imagine
it's very expensive.
to save.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they actually get very discouraged to even start. Yeah, so this is like the mindset that I see. But coming, I mean, listening to what you're saying today, that be realistic. Parents should actually give, the whole idea of education funding is to give your child an opportunity. That's it.
Yeah.
So I mean, we base it off what we have, lah, right? At the end of the day, it's how much you can put aside. It's not to say you have to bend your back really low in order to save up for your child's education, but also be realistic and tell yourself that it's more valuable for me to give skills to my child than for me to send my child to the best university just for that first job interview, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
yeah, so I guess this is something many parents should it will help them to ease their burden lah, when we come and talk about
Yeah.
topic like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. Now, to give you guys a very simple example, yeah. All right, let's say I set aside 500,000 to go and send my kid to Australia, for example, right? Nowadays, I don't even know whether 500,000 is enough or not. I don't know. All right. So now, instead, let's say he studied locally. He uses 100,000. Then I go and take the 400,000 and go buy a house for him. For example, sebagai contoh lah. All right. Now, can you imagine how much money he saves every month from the mortgage or from the
Yeah.
rental? Yeah, it's gonna it's better. I don't even know, whether or not he can go and have the difference in salary just because he went to an Australian university, for example.
That's true.
All
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's true.
here's the thing: if I have 5 million, if I have 500,000 in the bank, and he says, you know what, Dad, I really want to go to Australia. I really want to go and try it out. Can you please send me there? I will make sure that I study hard and I won't let you down. Then I'm like, okay, well, I got also one. Oh, you go. So having the option
Mm,
is very important. All right,
Correct.
having the option is very important. You're not gonna lose as long as you have the savings. You're not gonna
yeah.
lose. Mm.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. That's very
That's
true.
true. Which comes to the other point lah. We are also very curious, like when you talk about saving for kids, right? Especially for
Mm.
their first degree, what is actually the difference for parents out if you want to send your kids overseas, right, or even to get a proper education locally, lah, right? Is Papa Mama funding more important, you feel, or let the kid take a PTPTN study loan lah. They can do it themselves, then they're accountable for whatever route they want to study and they are more committed to it. So what do you think, Teacher Kean?
Wow, I tell you, I have a really controversial answer, man, guys. You guys, really okay. Now, guys, all right. If your kid has the correct skills and if they have the correct attitude, if they read the correct books, if they mix with the correct people, no matter what they do, right, they will never lose in life.
That's
As
true.
long as you're in the top 10% of what you do, you will never lose in life. It doesn't really
Mm,
matter what you study. It doesn't really matter what first company you go to. All right. As long as you
Yeah.
keep your chin up, you do the correct things, you're kind to people, you show a lot of love to people, you have the correct mindset, you want to help people. If you're in the top 10%, you're going to make it no matter what you do. So I think take the PTPTN. I think take the
mm,
PTPTN, but there's no guarantee that you'll get it. So it doesn't stop the parents from saving money. You should not you should not give up your primary purpose and objective for saving money in your education fund.
Yeah.
But if your kids get the PTPTN, some people have a lot of resistance to that. They'll say that, oh, you'll be bound for so many years to, let's say, government service or to this particular employer. So what? Even if they're bound to government service, all right, if they are in the top 10%, they are going to excel. They're going to be great.
Yeah.
And years later, when they decide to leave government service, or if they if they move it up all the ranks as a bureaucrat, they're going to do great. If they leave government service, people are going to seek them out because they were in the top 10% of the civil servants. If they stay in civil service, they are going to be rapidly promoted
Excelling
up the
there.
ranks. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no wrong. There's no wrong.
Yeah.
It's
That's
only if you have limiting beliefs. If you go and say that, I can't grow anymore. All right, I can't grow anymore. Or this is what I study, so I'm forever bound to this. Then
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
No matter how good your degree is, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it comes back to the mindset as well. It's not
I
so
think
much
so.
of whether or not the opportunities are given to you. Sometimes the opportunities are there, but if you don't grab it, what's the difference, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. Hey, look, if here's the thing though, okay? Now, I really, really, really believe, and I've been counting, right? I I really believe that good people and good opportunities come into our lives every single day. The difference is whether we can keep them, or like you say, whether or not we can grab them. Good people come into our lives every day, but if we're toxic, if we're miserable, if we're not happy, if we're very petty and we're very angry all the time, they are not going to stay for very long.
That's true.
They're not going to stay for very long.
Yeah.
Right? Some people, they're very happy, right? And then we go say, wait, why so many good people and opportunities come through your life? Well, it's because they keep the people around. And when good people hang around, then opportunities will come. That's how I look at it anyway. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's very, very true.
very true.
So, Rachel, any other questions for Teacher Kean?
Did we
Think
cover
I-
all the questions?
Actually,
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
much we did. And we just also realized that the hour is almost up, Teacher Kean. That's
Yeah.
like how fast, time flies when we're having fun with having you with us.
Yeah, this all flew very, very fast. But I did learn a lot now. One thing.
Yeah.
I feel like it's very beneficial. Although I'm not a parent
Yeah.
yet, but then it's you can apply these things with your other relationships as well, your friends, your
Correct.
brothers, sister. It's the same.
Yeah, whoever we
common
meet.
behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah, communication
Yep.
is very, very vital.
Pretty much. Yeah,
Yep.
it is. So what I would say is for parents out there or whoever out there who thinks that, you've got other pressing questions for Teacher Kean, right, that wasn't addressed today, look, it's going to be all right. You just need to connect with Teacher Kean, okay? And this is how you can do it. He's actually very active on LinkedIn. So if you want, give him a nudge, say hello to him. I'm sure he'll add you as a connection. And if you want to check out more about Teacher Kean itself, go to his website. Okay, he runs really, really amazing workshop. Okay, so parents out there, if you're struggling with your kids right now and you find that, oh my God, I don't know how to solve the problem, worry no more. Stay tuned, okay? Because I think every other month, Teacher Kean does have workshops. So stay tuned. I think there is one coming up soon. Is it, Teacher Kean? Sometime in
Maybe
December.
in December, right? Depending on how my corporate training schedule looks like. Yep.
Right. So, okay. So for those of you who are interested, right, please get connected with him. And also on the finance side, if you do have any questions for Rachel and myself, please feel free to drop us a message as well. Connect with us, okay, so that we can see how we can best help you.
Hey,
So,
I have a question for the finance side. Hey,
yes,
you guys
what?
asked me what I would do to go and start saving for my kids. What advice can you go and give me, for example? What?
Okay, don't worry. We have a solution for you. Ta-ta!
Wow.
Okay, so for parents out there, right, I know for many parents out there, you definitely do struggle, like for example, with topics we talked about earlier on. If you think that, you may not be saving enough or don't know how to plan for your children's education, you can always come and talk to Rachel and myself. So what you will actually get is actually peace of mind. You don't need to wonder anymore. After speaking to us, you're very clear, okay, what you're saving for, how much you need to save, okay, and it will be something which you're comfortable with. Okay, so it's not going to be something that breaks your camel's back, but it's going to be something that is within your affordability and that you can comfortably save sufficiently for your children's education as well. Okay, and making sure at the end of the day, worst case also lah, right, we can send the kids locally for at least the first degree. Okay, this is the most important thing. If you actually have means to send them overseas, that'll be great if the opportunity arises. So what we will actually cover in this consultation, right, it's to actually look into what plans you have in mind that you want to send your kids. So I'll give you an example. Some people, they are very, very focused. Okay, I have to send my kids to UK and it has to be Oxford. Okay, so then if that's the case, we can look into an education path, sending your kids to Oxford to study whichever course that you're really interested in, and work out for you how much this education fees will be in the near future so that you will already have an idea how much you need to start saving today, if not yesterday. Okay, and if you say you're planning to send your kids for abroad study, right, you also need to throw in things like living and expenses. Those are the costs that you also need to worry about other than tuition fees. We will also work it out for you, okay, to make sure that you are also in line with the lifestyle inflation in the future as well. And most importantly, it's where to put the money so that it safeguard your interest in growing the fund right for your children's education. So all okay for just 500 ringgit per kid, right? We are able to help you to do this so that you have peace of mind. You don't have to worry about it anymore once it's done. Okay, and you are very clear what you're saving for, most importantly. So that's the value that you
Yes.
guys will get. So what do you guys think? Do you think this is great or not, Teacher Kean?
Oh, wow, it's excellent. Yeah, definitely must consider. Wow, when I go and see the
Yeah,
word future
exactly.
value, I'm so scared already.
Yeah, because just to let you know, right, the inflation for education, it's about 3 to 5% depending on which university you're actually thinking of sending your kids to, in which country. So if you don't plan well, then you might have a problem later on or closer to date, when you want to send your kids. So let's not have that problem because you don't want to get stressed, trust me, okay, over things like this.
Yeah.
If you got one kid, maybe you're stressed only. Just imagine if let's say you got more than one kid. So, planning does help,
Yeah.
okay, when you start early.
Yep.
Okay, last but not least, okay, we have to say that today is our last episode, okay, for
For
2021.
season one.
But Rachel and I are excited because we've got plans and we definitely want to see you guys back here with Wednesday Night with Two Ladies in 2022, okay? So, any questions that you have for Teacher Keen or Rachel and myself, please feel free to give us a nudge. You can find us on social media links. All right, take care,
All right.
everyone. Stay safe. Have a fantastic 2021. Okay, and we'll see you again next year.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.